The whole narrative that has grown up in recent months over this question of the referendum and whether we should leave or remain in the EU is a narrative that if you are left-wing, if you are in support of women's rights, if you're anti-racist, if you're in support of workers' rights, you have to be in favour of remain. This is a lie, that actually the European Union is not for more democracy, for more equality, for more freedom, for anti-racism. It's actually for exactly the opposite.
The European Union is one of the most important projects of Western imperialism since the Second World War. Essentially, it's an imperialist enterprise in two dimensions. First of all, since the late 1940s, the United States, US imperialism, which remains the dominant power in Western capitalism, has promoted EU integration to secure a prosperous and stable junior partner for managing global capitalism. The issue that I think, from a moral point of view, is decisive is what has happened to migrants and refugees. We in the Socialist Workers' Party defend open borders. We're opposed to all immigration controls. But the fight for open borders has to be directed against the European Union, whose major drive, one of whose major drives at the present time, is to close borders, erect walls, and drive the people who've managed in desperate circumstances to get to some part of Europe, drive them out of the European Union.
This is not a social Europe. This is not a club for us. It's a club for all. It may well have been established with the idea that this would be a social alternative to repeated wars in Europe, that it would, create solidarity among all the nations, that it would give people the right to travel, that it would lift all boats, that we would get equal pay, that we would get abortion rights, that we would get social equality. Anything we have achieved in terms of pay or equality, and it isn't a huge amount, but including marriage equality and the decriminalisation of homosexuality, we still don't have abortion rights, despite what the EU say to Ireland all the time. They still haven't recognised a woman's right to choose to control our own bodies, either north or south of the border. Nevertheless, anything we have achieved, we had to fight for. What says it all about Europe is the refugee crisis. My God Almighty, how do they justify calling themselves any sort of a union when they treat human beings in the way that they have? When they have done this deal with Turkey to push tens of thousands of desperate people back into the arms of one of the most despotic regimes in the world, how dare they call themselves humanitarian? And this will differentiate the Lexit from the Brexit voice. We have to say, none of these deals with Turkey, open the borders, let them in, and treat every human being as an equal, regardless of where they come from.
And some of the advocates of us remaining in the European Union continue to argue, well, at least it's given us some protection for workers. Well, apart from the fact that would appear to be a very strange assertion to many workers today in Greece and Portugal and Ireland and elsewhere, we have had at least 12 major anti-trade union pieces of legislation in Britain since 1980. The European Union has not inhibited or blocked a single one of them. It's provided no protection whatsoever against the anti-trade union laws.
European Union is dividing Europe in different economies and societies. It is dividing Europe in a center and many, many peripheries. Among the countries and inside each country. It's dividing societies between very rich people and the majority of the poor people in every country. The basic ideals of the European Union. So this discourse they are using from the beginning of the European Union to hide the real purpose of the European Union, said after Second World War. European Union was created to avoid wars. And if you see the border of the European Union from Ukraine coming through Turkey, who is bombing our brothers and sisters in southern Turkey, in southeast Turkey, so in Kurdistan, through Libya, Syria, Palestine, Iraq, and then the other countries who have not war, but they have dictatorship like Morocco or other countries. So they are creating war all around the stripe of their border, of the European Union border. So avoiding wars, it is not an ideal they have achieved. No, it's just
You've got to put this in the face of the people on the left who are going to vote for these people on the 23rd. We're going to talk about the 5,000 children that have gone missing in Germany, a very advanced country, a very organised country, and they've just lost 5,000 refugee kids. Where are they? They're being sex trafficked, they're being used by these people smugglers and so on. That is the face of the European Union that we have to get across to people in this coming referendum. And also, I think we need to talk about what we can do to help refugees. That's why I think it's massively important that we have a lining up outside on Whitehall. We have trucks, we have people getting ready to go over to Calais on the 18th, a few days before that referendum, to show that actually we're against these borders and we're against the racism of the European Union. And black people...
If I see one more meme telling me that the EU gave me equal pay for work of equal value, I think I might lose my temper. So, for the record, it was the Ford women at Dagenham. That we have, as I think Rob said, has been won by us in struggle over the decades, over the centuries.
Whatever the outcome of the referendum, we'll still have a pro-austerity government. That's true, also a racist government. However, if Leave wins, they'll be immeasurably weaker. This meeting has been very positive. I feel like Lorraine, the left in Britain has gone through a very bad period of internal division and fighting. But here we are. Here we have a range of forces from different backgrounds and traditions who are working together to campaign for Lexit. That's a fantastic step forward. But I agree with Lorraine also that it's not good enough to sit in this room feeling good and agreeing with each other. We need to use this meeting as a launching pad for a really determined campaign that can make the voice of the anti-capitalist, internationalist, anti-imperialist, anti-racist left heard as loudly as possible in this referendum campaign.